Hello, this is 23.1 Work Opportunities by Aaron Sparrowhawk. So there are three providers in sport industry. First you have the public. These facilities are mainly run by the local government and things like that, and they rarely cost anything, and if they do it's a very small fee. The example would be outdoor gyms and leisure centres such as the King Alfred in Brighton. They aim to involve as many people as possible, which is linked to mass participation actually, and encouraging them to be active on a regular basis and set foundations in those. You also have private. These facilities are also run to encourage people to be active on a regular basis, but often are of a higher quality. This means that for a more premium price people can access a variety of facilities with more equipment and things like that, and have one-to-one coaching. An example is Virgin Active and David Lloyd's, which charge customers monthly fees for state-of-the-art facilities. And then finally, you have voluntary. This work is based on volunteer work and is non-profit for almost everybody. This can usually be found at local sports teams, for example Shoreham Barnes Basketball Club, who are volunteers and do not have a working salary. And it's all based towards mass participation and getting everybody involved. And as an example, Shoreham Spartans, they go from primary school age group to all the way up to men's senior teams. So the four sectors in sports industry. First you have health and fitness. This sector is probably goes from grassroots all the way to professionals looking to enhance their performance. This sector obtains funding through various channels and things like that, and can provide major facilities for specific sorts, such as the Copper Box for basketball. The Copper Box is located in London. Or smaller facilities for smaller local clubs. An example of a job in this area would be a personal trainer, as they are looking to get people active and participating in sport. We also have sport and recreation. This sector is mainly to get most people involved in sport as much as possible, and is at the grassroots level. This sector also heavily depends on volunteer work and coaching and instructing, because of these people will struggle to earn a living. On the other hand, this sector can also include teachers and primary schools and coaches. An example of a job in this area would be an under-11s football coach, for example. So, third sector in the sport industry is outdoor education, and unlike any other sector, this only caters to outdoor adventure sports, such as whitewater rafting, or canoeing instructing, or kayak instructing, or rock climbing instructor. And this is a constant pressure, and you need specific qualifications to actually do this. And there's a constant pressure because there's so many things that can go wrong. So you need to be trained in the field intensively to avoid any sort of injury. And the example, as we said, would probably be a rock climber, for example. Finally, sport and exercise science. This sector is particularly focused on enhancing performance of elite athletes through the use of analysing data and exercise science. High-end sports teams, or even some individual athletes, will hire out facilities and things like that to make sure that their players are getting the top-end facilities and top-end tests to make sure that they're working as hard as they can, and why things might or might not be working for them. Another good thing about this is that it also allows players to come back from injury quicker, and will allow them to understand the quickest way to get them back to full health. An example would probably be a sports psychologist or a sports physiologist. So, for my sport and recreation job explanation, I've actually gone with a under-14s football team coach. So, being a football coach for an under-14 football team would mainly be volunteering work, and would look toward getting as many players involved as possible and from the local area. The coach would need to have a high level of enthusiasm and passion for the sport, and also have a deep knowledge of how the sport is played. They should also be able to access problems both on and off the court, and know how to solve the problem in their coaching style. They should be supportive and help to develop players. I feel this will be a great fit for me, as this will allow me to work with children and help people develop whilst in a recreational environment. I feel as though I'll be confident enough to do this, and I'm focused enough to make kids want to join in and get involved, which will link to the mass participation. Also feel as though I'm patient enough to work in this area, because it can be quite stressful at times. I find that I feel as though I'm approachable if children and players need help with something, in advice on a certain skill, technique, or anything else for that matter. There are slight complications with this job. Firstly, it's voluntary mostly, so you probably won't be getting paid. you actually have to dedicate a lot more hours than people think. So even though you're only probably doing about 4 or 5 hours altogether per week, you're actually doing a lot more preparing for your trainings and things like that. Also, you do need certain qualifications, FA licenses and things like that, and you also do need a DBS and CRB check for this type of job. So, sport and science job explanation and evaluation. I've done a sports physiotherapist. They should have an extensive knowledge of how the body is and have a knack for problem solving, as they should be able to listen to what the patient is telling them and be able to match that with the known problem and injury. Furthermore, they should also know the best procedure to get the patient recovering from the injury as fast as possible. They should also have an interest in research and advancing techniques to ensure that they can be as helpful as possible to the client. So what are the disadvantages? Firstly, working hours. Physiotherapists typically work probably about 37.5 hours per week, per my research, which may include evenings, nights and weekends. And as a sports physiotherapist, you like to work on the weekend a lot, and also and in private practice your hours will reflect the needs for your clients. So for example, if you're working for a team specifically and there's somebody injured, you might have to dedicate 8 hours a week just with that one person. Also, you definitely need a degree. A-levels are really key for this as well. They would require a certain level of diploma or something like that in A-level as well. They also would like A-level biology as well. And also any other extensive courses that you would have been taken would actually add on to that and be very helpful, and most employers will look for that. So the evaluation is, I don't have the knowledge and the knack for huge problem solving in this area. I'll be a very good listener, I think. However, I don't think I have enough confidence to help performers in this sort of area. I just don't think it'd be a very good fit job for me. I don't think I'm that confident. I think I'm confident enough to coach somebody. When it comes to getting hands-on with them, I don't think I'll be as good. Also, I don't have a biology A-level either, and I don't plan or intending to do an MVQ in it at university level either, so that kind of isn't really my career path. So, health and fitness. Firstly, it's the job that I'm trying to explain as a sports club's youth sports instructor. So this job requires a high level of patience, as it's with the youth and can help mean if you're not focused, you may lose attention of the group. The sports youth coach is there mainly to help players develop, but also to have fun. As a result of this, you need to have the enthusiasm for the sport. You also need to be responsible. If it's just you coaching, you're responsible for many children's safety and well-being. So, the job itself, it pays fairly okay, $18,000 a year. You may have to work weekends and during the week, and the hours vary depending on what leisure centre you're doing it at, because most of them don't go to schools, they actually do it at a leisure centre, so you will be working a lot of weekends. Commuting may be an issue depending on areas of work, and also as we said previously with a physiotherapist, if you're working with a team, commuting might be different as well. So for me personally for this, I feel as though it would be a great fit for me, as it will allow me to work with children and help them develop whilst in a recreational environment. I feel as though I'm confident enough to do this, and I'm focused enough to make kids want to join in and get involved. I also feel as though I'm patient enough to work within a stressful environment. Finally, I feel as though I'm approachable if children and players need help with something, or need advice on a certain skill, technique, or anything else for that matter. What is needed for this job? Preferably A-levels and possibly university, however it's not required. Also a CBR and DBS check are needed for this, and first aid is a key one as well for this one. You definitely need first aid because you're working with kids and things like that. So that is very much desirable. So, finally, for outdoor adventure, I've done a rock climbing instructor. As a rock climbing instructor, employees will need to have a high level of skill in the activity. They'll be leading for them to give them a physical demonstrations or help clients with their technique. They'll also have to have the ability to lead large groups at a time, give clear instructions and explanations so that all safety protocols are met. Finally, they should also have a responsible attitude and be able to follow all health and safety regulations. So, you definitely need first aid for this. You need all qualifications in whatever thing you're doing. So, if you're a whitewater rafting instructor, you would need a degree or some sort in that, or a certificate in that. So for this rock climbing, you'll need a certificate in that. Also needs DBS and CRB check for it. You need a health and safety certificate as well. there's so many degrees for this. It's quite a complicated thing to actually get into in the first place. Starting salary is 20,000. Hours vary, usually 9 till 6 most days. May have to work weekends. Obviously, commuting is depending on where you live and where the place actually is. Definitely need DBS check and qualifications for it. I think I'll be okay at the job, evaluating from it. I am fairly outdoors person. However, this job is a constant pressure, and you have lives in your hand. If someone does something wrong, it can lead to serious injury. I'm quite resourceful, and I'm a puzzle solver, which fits with the rock climbing instructor. However, I don't think I will enjoy the constant pressure. One thing a rock climbing instructor does have is leadership skills and leading people through different routes. I feel I'd be good at that because I'm confident and can lead people forward. So finally, for these three, obviously I've ranked them from 1 to 3 per the ones that I most likely want to do to the ones I'd least likely like to do. So obviously sports physiotherapist isn't on there, as I said before. That's not my career path, and it wouldn't really be useful for me to do that now at this level. Rock climbing instructor, again, I'm not keen on the idea of that, but it's something definitely to look forward to if I tend to then go into that sector if I want to. Second is the sports coach for an under-14s football team. I think I'll be very good at that. I just need certain qualifications to do that, obviously, but apart from that, I think I'd really fit the role of being patient, being instructive, helping people, developing and things like that. And finally, obviously, the first and my top one is sports clubs for kids, youth, sports instructor, which at times is quite a demanding job, but I think I'm patient enough, I think I'm able to help people, and I'm approachable enough. I also feel as though I'm fully qualified to teach anybody any sport, and I can go out and get a degree in almost anything I want to. In terms of the certificates, I can go out and get a certificate in level 1 badminton coaching, level 1 tennis coaching, level 1 or 2 football or basketball coaching, things like that. I can definitely go out and do that simply just on my own. I can physically do that because I have enough knowledge in this area to help them. And I also feel as though I fit all the criteria for somebody to actually be a sports club for kids youth sports instructor as well. So that is why it's number 1 on my list.